it is the end of an era. My time making Warhammer content is over. The moment has come to reveal the face behind the mask. You didn't really think it was going to be that easy, did you? Janovich is going to be making the types of content it is known for, just not Warhammer. So why the Knight's helmet? That's because I'm finally going back to my very first fascination as a young boy, the Middle Ages. And for Spaceking fans, don't worry, I will talk about that later in the video, so stick around. The Middle Ages truly were the first thing that interested me. The fascinating medieval times of kings and castles, and most importantly, knights fighting on the battlefield. That's just epic. I still remember my 9th birthday party had a medieval theme and it was great. This love for history has always been with me, and now that my channel is transitioning away from Warhammer, it feels only natural to follow this path. I still have a very deep interest in World War I, but truth be told, I'm afraid that focusing on that tragedy full time would be just too depressing. So what will the future content of this channel be? 1. Cinematic short films in the medieval setting. Think animations about battlefields like Agincourt and sieges. If you've seen my Warhammer films, you know how over the many years my skills have improved a lot. Animation has always been my passion and it's not going to stop. I would love to make epic battle scenes that do justice to historical accuracy that is so often missing from Hollywood and that we all crave. These are the long-term projects made as a labor of love. As a fun fact, I spent over $2,000 recruiting help with my latest Siege of Vraks release. This was used for things like custom music, sound effects, special effects, and help with texturing that all push the visuals to the next level. I hope you understand that this kind of stuff really cannot be made without your monthly support on Patreon. Secondly, and this will be the core of the channel, is historical documentary videos in the same format as my lore videos, with strategic battle animations. The first series I will be covering is about the Crusades. I'm doing a lot of research to write the best, most detailed and historically accurate script as possible. These are going to be the mid to long term projects that will span across multiple episodes on the channel, just like you are used to. Hopefully with a monthly release, but considering how much more difficult and time consuming historical research is compared to doing lore videos on fiction, it remains to be seen if I can pull this off. And finally, there will always be cosplay related stuff for 3D printing. I've been working on a library of historically accurate medieval props, including helmets, weapons and soon all types of armor. These files can be found on my Etsy shop or Cult3D. And I will also start selling physical prints for these, so that even if you don't have a printer, you can still get your hands on them. Cosplay has always been a big staple of running my channel, as the profits directly go into making the long form content that would otherwise not be financially sustainable on its own. By now I have years worth of experience designing printable models, and I truly believe that these are amongst the highest quality STL files you can find for this type of stuff online, and I take great pride in that. They are meticulously designed in every aspect. It is super easy to print, they are drag and drop ready, designed for easy assembly, they are sturdy, historically accurate. By hiding seams and using the most optimal print orientation, they are easy to send, and this improves the post-processing speed a lot. They have good folder structure, the files are pre-supported when necessary, everything is test printed, assembly instructions are included, the whole shebang. You can enter this size data into a spreadsheet I made to check if it will fit on your printer or if you need to use the provided split files. And when split files are included, even big items can sometimes even be printed on small printers like the A1 Mini. Obviously, developing all of this takes a lot of time. So these may not be the cheapest STL files you can find, I still think they are a great deal compared to many other files that sometimes require hours to properly prepare for printing and then also a whole lot for post-processing. With my files, you know the quality and ease of use is always there. Let's take a look at this historically accurate German mace that I designed as an example. You can assemble it almost entirely without glue, just by screwing in the parts. So wherever possible, no glue. And for the only part that requires glue in this assembly, the seam is hidden and reinforced in the design. The flanges are printed separately and then locked in, because that makes post-processing so much easier without having to deal with the layer lines. And the parts are also stronger. Despite being 3D printed, it is extremely sturdy and I can swing this around with no problem full force. And if that is not enough for you, there's even space to insert a metal rod through the entire length for reinforcement. Overall, so much engineering has gone into a prop like this that it's just a pleasure to behold, and I'm very proud of the result. Because these historical projects don't have any copyrights, I'm finally free from the issues of a greedy corporation coming after me with copyright claims. I'm not sticking around for the next wave of attacks against fans. Games Workshop can go to hell. You've all seen the videos, you know what's up. I'm sure you understand this is all a big relief for me, and I'm really looking forward to a time without having to worry about such concerns at all. I really hope that this is all going to work out, because it would be great if my family doesn't have to starve because I refuse to sell my soul. My first child is now 8 months old, so yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's sometimes a bit anxiety inducing to think what will happen if the channel completely fails all of a sudden. But my strategy has always been to make the highest quality I can possibly make, no matter what I do. When it comes to these 3 pillars making up the channel, quality is and will always be my aspiration, and there will be no compromise on that. To give some context for that, for the documentary videos I intend to basically compete on quality with channels like Kings and Generals and strive to do even better, because otherwise what is even the point of making it? I'm already working on a really detailed script for the First Crusade, and it's going to be told in a really epic way. Something fun that I want to share is I'm also working on 11th century medieval armor. During that time, for a knight, a full suit of chainmail was quite common. If you thought the chainmail coif I showed you earlier was real, that is because apart from the material, it pretty much is. For a costume, wearing real chainmail weighing approximately 10 to sometimes even 13 kilos all day will get really heavy and cumbersome, not fun for a convention. I've decided instead to make a 3D printed one, like all my other stuff. But the print in place chainmail looks so awful, so what I'm doing instead is printing individual rings and assembling them by hand with rivets to get the most authentic look possible. I'm using a historically accurate assembly method here. If you want a real example of me going for quality no matter what, this is it. I'm working on a costume that requires more than 10,000 rings to be riveted by hand, and according to my calculations will take over 30 hours just to assemble. All of this just so that it can look as good as it can be, while also being lightweight enough to be comfortable to wear as a costume. This is why the transition into medieval content is going to be a long-term plan. There is simply an insane amount of time I have to spend on research, designing, modeling and writing scripts before the transition can be seen in earnest. Alongside that, I've started going to HEMA lessons to learn the art of sword fighting, so that when the costume is complete I can actually swing a weapon with some skill and confidence, and so far it's been really fun. A lot of the work in progress is going to be posted on my second channel, Janovich Workshop. Here I will be posting short and mostly unedited stuff that the algorithm for this particular channel probably wouldn't appreciate, but it can still be useful to some people. So if you're curious, just give it a subscribe and you'll see whatever stuff I'm posting there. In the meantime, there will be some content that grimdark fans may enjoy. Spaceking! That's right, I'm a big fan of the unapologetic humor of Spaceking made by FlashGitch, and while I was in the middle of covering all of the Games Workshop copyright nonsense a few months ago, I could not muster much motivation to work on anything related to Warhammer. It's only been recently that I've been able to finish my Siege of Vraks film. Instead, I worked on a 3D model and a rig for Spaceking, and for the first time in a long while, work felt carefree and fun in a way that I just hadn't felt in such a long time when making Warhammer content all these years. I then realized that for these years, the legal threats against fanworks had weighed heavy on my shoulders while making any type of Warhammer content. And so I'm super relieved to finally be rid of that, and I will not be looking back. Basically, Warhammer is dead to me, and Spaceking is filling a void with its delightful nonsense. The king is dead, long live Spaceking. Right now I'm not exactly sure how much Spaceking content I will be making. As of now, there really isn't all that much lore and official content to cover, but I will try to get at least some sick animations and even a lore video out there. I've already made some Spaceking cosplay designs too, and there will be plenty of Spaceking stuff before the full transition to medieval content. If you feel like helping me out during a difficult period, now is the time to do so. I promise I will do my best to make it worthwhile. And the easiest way to do this is by becoming a supporter on Patreon, and this comes with some perks. Alternatively, you can become a YouTube channel member. But also by buying my 3D print designs on Cults or Etsy is a great way of supporting the channel. Thank you so much and see you on the next video.